whether or not we reach that high figure or not is another question for another day. But don't you feel that even with falling oil prices, even with the cut in the output production for Nigeria, don't you think that taxes will be a buffer to sustain the budget?
Taxes, yes. I think Nigeria is one of the countries in the third world that we are paying the least degree of taxes. I think to do something in the area of taxation is very good. Not that we are paying too small, but also that those who ought to be covered are not significantly covered, and those who are covered are actually dodging taxes. Don't forget, to evade tax is illegal, but to dodge tax is not illegal. But it is being mischievously smart. In other words, if you are brutally efficient, you can dodge tax effectively and you will not be sanctioned.
What's the difference?
Oh, the difference is that if you see an avenue by which you may pay less tax in such a way that you will not break a law. For example, if you have 4 children, you are training, and there's children education and so other things, to reduce the level of taxation, of course you list them. You can even list your dependents as part of your responsibilities. That way, your PITA, that is personal income tax, will be reduced on the basis of the fact that you are already overburdened by children and other things. So okay, that's dodging it, but that's not evading it. You still pay tax anyway, but you are not paying as much as you will pay, while the circumstances be different.
Okay. Do you subscribe to borrowing to fund the budget deficit?
Yes. Borrowing is not necessarily bad economics. In fact, it will be good economics to borrow when the ratio or the rate of interest is very low. Like, for example, Sukuk. Sukuk loan is an Islamic Development Bank loan, and that loan is 0% interest rate. Osun State has done something beautifully in that area by borrowing Sukuk to build schools and to build roads. And so if we get Sukuk loan to finance some of our basic infrastructure, I think it will be very beautiful. The only thing is that you must not borrow to consume. It will be bad economics to borrow to pay salaries. I mean, it will, in fact, it will be like an economic sabotage on the Federal Republic to be borrowing to pay salaries. You only borrow to invest, not borrow to consume.
Because someone will wonder that, okay, if you say we should not borrow to consume, but the budget itself is largely weighed 70% on recurrent expenditure.
Yes, because recurrent expenditure builds up over the years. Even when you engage on certain capital expenditure, there are recurrent implications of capital expenditure. I give you an instance. If you go to the Niger Delta and say, Niger Delta University, we are going to put it in Amasoma, for example, you are going to build laboratories, reagents, and you are going to buy, machinery and things like that. This is capital expenditure. But you will also employ lecturers. You will employ non-academic staff. This is the recurrent implication of that capitalized budget. And I tell you, across about 30 years, you will see that the recurrent expenditure will outweigh the capital expenditure.
How concerned are you about corruption in the budgets, especially when it comes to the MDAs?
Concerned
MDAs especially, because there are allocations that are made, and you can hardly point to anything that this was what was actually used before the end of the year or before the end of that fiscal year for the budget.
Well, I'm an academic, and so I'm not likely to be giving political statements in order not to ruffle any feathers. So we enjoy the opportunity. Now, I don't see any reason why you continue to maintain an MDA that is fundamentally a loss to the nation in terms of value added. I mean, there are some MDAs that ought to be either privatized, or you ask the workers within those MDAs to buy them.
To be privatized?
Of course, to buy. They either privatize them, or you actually close them down, or you ask the workers to buy them. Yes, it will mean unemployment in some degree, but it's neither here nor there. See, when you begin to levy the burden of recurrent expenditure on the budget, what it means is that you delimit, you reduce the amount of money available for capital expenditure. And so what we need to do in the area of corruption is to block wastage, to stop wastages, and to ensure that illegal environment and unapproved expenditure are actually stopped, particularly in the area of transferring money that is meant for capital to service the recurrent expenditure. Is corruption, because it is in direct flouting of the Budget Act itself, and it is sanctionable. It's a criminal offense. So, but we have that in our system. We also have what is called the repetitive budgeting. You budget for one item in 4 or 5 places. For example, in the Ministry of Agriculture, you can have budget for seed, budget for seeding, budget for seedlings, and budget for seeds. Seeds, seeding, and seedlings. And it will be the same.
Don't they mean different things?
Oh, of course. That's by the time you now reflect By the time you now reflect and see, let me see these things you are budgeting for under diverse names, you'll be surprised that they are referring to the same thing.
How about budgeting for office equipment?
Yes, budgeting for equipment. You say filing, stapler. I mean, that's the problem.
So how do we get rid of that problem?
And some of my students have identified more than 6,000 of these repetitive budgeting in the Nigerian federal budget.
In the 2018 budget?
No, in the 2014, 2015.
How do we get across to eliminate that?
The budget ombudsman. There's the budget ombudsman, the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation. Oh, see. Look, Gimba, we have a system in this country where you have a financial ombudsman, the policeman of the budget, the man who ought to report on the efficiency of expenditure on the budget. That is, whether expenditure that are written in the budget according to the national legislature's approval have been carried out to the letter and accordingly with the financial mandate of the finance minister. And yet, the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation, which is covered by Section 84, Section 25 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic, is not properly serviced. It is the Auditor General that will block this. He will report on this. But ask me, do we have the audit report for last year's budget?
Tunji Ogunyemi, budget historian, I want to thank you so much indeed for your very enlightening views to the 2018 budget of consolidation, the government calls it. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much.
Sunrise Daily will be back in just a moment. Join us again.